If it doesn't work like this, we'll have to switch to 2, but I'm thinking it should be working. Maybe this was just
play a free
it
for
might
all,
be actually
whatever.
introduced because of, yeah, right now, this is this.
Hopefully this
Now,
works.
so you're gonna look on the spawn, fine, yeah,
Perfect.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of thinking that it was introduced this way, because also allowing free-for-alls a bit later into patch development, I'm thinking.
The
So,
idea was
we've
to
got-
allow multiple observers without the recorded game going invalid, so it seems to have worked.
Yeah, I was just talking about the fact that if you pick different teams, you're actually going to be allowed to play and whatnot. I'm thinking it might have been a bit tempered with a bit later to actually allow free-for-alls, because of course you cannot play a really free-for-all on these observer maps, but otherwise we are just right now moving into the game, and I'm looking at both players choosing the other water. Yeah, well, that's gonna be nice for both of them, I guess.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure both of them will eventually opt to also get the other side so that they can actually harass each other.
It's gonna be interesting how soon actually they do that. If they attempt even the second dock already to do this, or not. Because of course usually you do place even the second dock already in the archaic age. So I'm definitely curious how this is gonna go. So far, 0-2 to going back. So it's almost looking like that he might be coming for both waters at once, which is usually quite harder for Atlanteans because of the low movement, and they cannot really spare the time. The slow movement.
This is also sort of a matchup where you can fake out a bit with water and actually go more land heavy, and that kind of needs to be spotted. So it's going to be very important for a Norse player to keep having a Yovsarks to keep tabs on what buildings are going to be made and when.
Yeah, and looking right now, for example, at the gold placements, they seem to be quite better for bobibobi. He's having both of them right at the back, whereas Red is having one in the front, so potentially he could be abused a bit there. And looking how he's actually going to be facing against an Atlantean, it definitely might be coming into play for him.
Very well played from 0022 to take the top water here, because as much as possible he doesn't want to fight the Oranos straight up on the water.
I'll be kind of thinking that maybe Norse would be wanting to take that fight, because his boats are quite stronger, especially as opposed to BRMS, who are, or rather which are the weakest in the game. So what's actually the reasoning behind that? Because you are a Norse player, so you will be having a bit more info on that.
Yeah, I'll respond to that in a moment, but I think there's something wrong with the screen. Players are saying they can't see.
Really? They seem to be playing quite fine, or rather, somebody is... maybe I haven't switched again. Yes, I haven't. Got him, it's second time today. Sorry, everybody.
Okay,
Luckily,
so we're back
3 minutes
on track
again, so everybody's just now watching the game right now.
Yeah, so because it's Loki, it's maybe a bit easier to fight, but if you're in general Norse, it's tough to fight because the Atlantean can pressure you water and sea, or sorry, water and land with the Prometheans and Oracles, and that will give him the advantage because he's pressuring your docks while fighting your ships. You're right that the Norse ships are stronger, but the Atlantean ships are faster and cheaper, so it balances out in that way.
They also train way faster, and because we're seeing in Oranos here, there's Shockwave on top of all of that.
Exactly, yeah.
There's definitely a lot of early pressure that can be put on the Loki player.
Yeah, right now it seems like that bobibobi is going to be discovering that he is alone on the water so far. He's already moving with the villager to the left side, whereas Red is not doing anything like that so far. He has already built second dock at the top, so he's probably not even interested in the second water. Almost seems like.
Yeah, it seems like he just really wants to hold on to this, and having 2 docks there versus just the one is going to mean that that shouldn't be too difficult.
Should be defensible now, especially since Bobby only has the 1 dock.
Yeah. Already got 2 hearses with the third one on the way.
Yeah, it seems to be pretty decent advance time for him. Or 42, both advancing at literally the same time in here. And he's coming for actually Longhouse, so he's not coming for the double temple. But to be honest, it's not really played lately all that often. It's usually going to be temple with Longhouse to mix up some other units in there. And he's probably going to be expecting some more mills right against the Hersiers, so he'll want to counter them with some throwing axemen, I'll be thinking.
So 0022 has picked up pickaxe and first sign, while Bobby still doesn't have any economy upgrades.
Yeah, but right now he's already quite investing into the water. He's having already 3 BRMS against 1 longboat, but since we are on Anatolia, which is always kinda hard to win the water because of the shooting docks and whatnot, he probably is going to be forced back and the economy should be pretty much fine. So all those 6 fishing boats at the back should be reasonably safe for him. So yeah, I kinda think that the Prussian is going to be quite advantageous for him, but yeah, kinda interesting that Blue isn't coming for it.
Yeah, you can definitely push in there and do some pickoffs, or at least deny the gathering.
Yeah, right now
how many
Herster's
boats
already in
does
blue.
he have in the dock right now?
Well,
Is he,
Blue definitely
is he
going
training
for it.
some boats, or is he just giving up the water?
Yeah, that's going to be up to Nakamura, because we as the second observers cannot actually see what's happening inside the buildings and whatnot.
Yeah, he's actually garrisoning 2 each.
Okay.
And he's producing further, but he's housed, so there's a problem with that for sure. And no houses are going down for now, so that's gonna leave him housed for a very long amount of time, but at the same time,
Got a
the
nice
gold
raid
villagers
over
are being
here.
harassed, yeah.
He only lost 1 Hersier, which is pretty good, and he's caused a lot of idle time, plus half health on a bunch of villagers.
He was actually trying to trap them in there. You can see the chip of the wall in there. It was definitely built to prevent the Herser from escaping, trying to kill him with the villager. But it's probably going to be coming back to bite him. All right now. That
Some
Red actually
very
needs
nice garrisons.
is some spawn. He gets a myth unit, and Blue is in pretty deep trouble right about now.
You can really see the power of garrisoning manors for Atlanteans here. And
Oh,
0022 is
Hersiers.
forced to retreat, so he's going to lose 2 or 3 units here. He just lost 3 Hersiers.
Wow.
That's huge.
That's actually quite a lot right now at this stage, so yeah, definitely, as you said. Is he having enough reinforcements coming in? So far, not really. He's not producing all that fast, it seems like.
But he's amassed a massive fleet right there. And actually, he's really outnumbering the Biremes with the superior ships as well. So next water fight should be pretty lopsided, actually.
Yeah, hopefully he will attack, or he's going to start falling behind economically, because Bobby now has purse sign and an additional 4 fishing ships.
Yeah, the factor here is that he needs to win the water fast, because if he spends any more time on it, it's going to be getting worse and worse, because of course he's not fighting on the right water. Whereas if bobibobi loses the left water, he doesn't mind at all. He's having just a few fishing boats in there.
Ooh,
His whole
huge
water economy is
shockwave.
on the right.
That could be really key to coming back in this fight there.
Yeah,
At the same
nice
time, the
shockwave.
Hersiers are finding the TC, and they should be able to deny it for now.
Yeah, they definitely will, but the manor is there yet again, quite nicely positioned. So that's very well played in there, and the Murmilos, especially the hero ones in there, he needs to get rid of those. Because, of course, he could be expecting the myth spawns pretty soon. If he isn't housed, which he is, so he's not getting anything, of course.
And
He's
good
bringing
micro
in the
there. He managed to
troll.
trap 1 Murmillo. Outnumbering in another location, so good micro there.
But he really should be taking care of the houses a bit more. It's almost... This really makes me think that 0022 isn't a Norse player, and definitely not Loki player. Because these are kind of little things that you kind of automatically take care of when you play the god all the time, because you remember it.
Yeah, although now he's at a stage where he almost has enough resources to go heroic. He'll undoubtedly pick Bragi here, I'm thinking. Although I suppose Njord wouldn't be completely useless, because we are on a water map, so you'd get both of the myth units. But flaming weapons with so many Hersiers should be the way to go, I think.
Yeah, right now the Braggy coming up for him. That's quite early. Now he's actually looking for blue. Is he going to be advancing? No, at all. He's not going to be advancing anytime soon. He doesn't have any kind of food, even though with all the fishing boats, it might be just like minute two away. It's not really that much of a difference in there.
So you're right that it is Braggy. I would have suspected Njord, or however you pronounce that, because he doesn't
Njord,
have that many Hersiers right now. And as you mentioned, the Kraken would be very useful with Walking Woods and Mountain Giant. He does a lot of damage to Atlanteans. Weak buildings and not many heroes. He does have 5 Murmillo heroes though, so that's well played. Valor.
Well, at this point it looks pretty grim for the red player, because he's going to be losing the water. Seems like bobibobi is going to be finishing with it fairly soon. Even through the heroic age right now, counter barracks are next to TC on the left. Husbandry just for blue, so he's not really coming for the heroic that soon. But the resources are getting there.
Up top, 0022 didn't notice and he just lost 5 fishing ships.
Well, I kind of think that he actually gave up on the water, because he doesn't have all that much of a chance to win.
That's actually quite devastating to his economy, though. He did have access to flaming weapons, and if he had survived this, he would have been able to win on both fronts.
Right now it's almost looking like a flaming weapons battle, but with the tower coming up in there, it's not going to be that fine for him. And it might be a bit of a trap actually, if he does.
A nice job pressuring the town center.
So far the army seems to be getting there. He is definitely aiming to secure that position on the map. As you can see, villages already in the vicinity in there, the gatherers of the food. So it's definitely looking like that this is going to be his play. And if he manages to somehow not win this, yeah, he doesn't have all that many options because of the extra economy for blue on the water. That's just going to be a huge boost for him into the next ages.
But at the same time, looking around the map, 0022 does have 15 villagers on food, so he's still going to be able to produce some Hersiers.
And he'll mostly be focusing on battle boars right now. And with 4 being out and the 5th one also coming now, that is a pretty scary army.
Yeah, but he kind of has to hurry up because of course the Ambers are going to be a presence now. And that's a thing that he has limited defense against, so he definitely has to be somehow right now going for full-on offense and be the one who actually forces his opponent into defensive.
Yep, his Axe of Muscle has not been upgraded, so this force has to be, like you said, the one that puts on the pressure and dictates the pace of the game. Now, all these battle boars should be able to take this TC down, and with all those axemen focusing on the birds and not all the birds focusing back, one of them should be falling.
Yeah, as well as a good troll spawn there, so he can use that to pick off some birds.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking that he should be investing also a bit into trolls, not just the boars. Because he somehow needs to counter the birdies, and trolls are just as good unit as he can produce, because they are of course having a bonus against mythical units. So they would be quite useful in that. Battle in the middle with the remaining flaming weapons. Of course, blue is not really any kind of spot that he should be really taking that battle. But it was just probably a bit slow to actually control his units in that. But in the meantime, second TC being captured by 0022 in the middle. But unfortunately,
great shockwave there on the battle boars.
Yeah, unfortunately the TC
good.
doesn't capture anything at all. There's no gold on the left side for him. So he needs to drop some hill forts or even something more.
Yeah, all these battle boars that can't shoot up, well, they have to run now that there's 3 birds.
Yeah, without shockwave, that TC would have gone down.
Oh, a huge denial!
And he
Yeah,
catches
at the
that
last
town
moment.
center in the nick of time.
But the 2 towers are pretty annoying there still. Because they are of course costing quite a lot of damage. Right now the Murmillos are heavy with baseline of upgrades, copper, weapons and mail. I was looking for the Hersiers. They are without any kind of upgrade so far. So those upgrades are of course going to be piling up as well. And
It does look like the Hearsters have been repelled, and this TC can be finished up after all. So there was a delay, but it's not as significant as it may have looked at first.
yeah, and also kind of interestingly,
Oh!
Red is actually coming back onto water for at least a few fishing boats in there that he can manage next to the docks.
All
So
the battle
Blue-
boars have
The
been
battle
killed.
boars all died.
Yep, they have all died. At least killing one of the dogs, but yeah, that's definitely not enough because of the second and third right next to it, so that's that. That's definitely gonna hurt him. Not only because of the lost units, but because the Symphonian birds right now are going to be coming for the infantry, of course.
On top of everything, there is no hill fort. There's no tanking unit against the Murmillos. It will have to be just the Hersiers and the throwing axemen. There's no time to make a hill fort now.
He's at least having Axe of Moose spell, so that's at least something going for him. But otherwise the map control seems to be quite alright from the Norse player. It's just going to be how fast he can get into Mythic and get into Fire Giants to counter all those birdies, I think.
Very curious to see what his play here will be because the Oranos is really stabilized now.
Well, so far not really any kind of upgrades coming up. Interestingly enough, even though we are at a time where we would be maybe expecting a bit of Raiden at the top right by Murmillos on some wood release, but that's about it. It seems like the defense is there quite close by.
One of the weaknesses of our Oranos player right now is that he only has a 1 gold mine where he's making the palace right now. If that was to be spotted, that could be a way for 022 to come back into this game.
Yeah, quite definitely. But right now it seems like that 022 is actually converging into the middle, just trying to push there, and he probably thinks that if he can cover the gold, that might be helping him in his game, but he probably hasn't... Either he hasn't scouted on the left fully, and he doesn't know about the left gold, or he has forgotten about it somehow. Not exactly sure which one. Because in the middle it doesn't look to be going all that well for him. Some Heresy Raiden on the right. Also almost looking if he might be actually trying to kill the dogs. Which might not be the worst kind of ideas for him actually at this point, because he might be at least for some time stopping the economy of Bobby. Which definitely right now should be needed because he's pushing on his gold. And once that gold is lost, that's the very last gold that he has. Otherwise it's going to be all in the front, yes.
Oh, and all those Murmillos that have gotten that surround, yeah, they're all going to dive on the dwarves right now, which have no defense, except for this Hersier army that has just looped back. This will be a very tough thing to keep up with. Our Atlantean player has just way more population right now.
Bird
Yeah,
has gone down though.
This doesn't really look good at all right now for the Norse. He's really fighting for his life altogether. Yes, this gold is the last that he has. He hasn't even established trade. He's right now at least coming for the 30C, so that he is on the same population limit. But yeah, the popped Atlantean.
Nice mountain giant spawn. Will be tanking in this battle. Exactly what he needs.
Yeah, without the heroes, that's definitely gonna help. Even though he does have enough. He does have enough resources for heroic, for making some heroes, but he probably doesn't want to spend it on basically that units.
Now, at the same time, however, a bunch of destroyers have been rallied onto that second TC of 022, and they've got it down pretty low, and the Murmillo at the same time is killing the villagers. This is looking tough.
Quite fine. That's probably gonna work quite alright, because there's the palace right next to it, and basically all the villages from Blue are in there. 8 citizens, so... Well. Pretty interesting moments. Right now, 022 is probably going to be safe with the gold on the right, but he's having an army on basically all the wrong spots. He's trying to take down the front TC with the mountain giant, but the extra 5 from the two towers and the hero citizens are going to put a stop to it, and probably Mythic is coming up. So there's a market. Yes, Hecate is coming. So this TC is gonna come down at the top. That's not really much of a doubt.
Bobby's trying to put a very aggressive palace over here to deny the gold mine, but he's losing those villages.
Yeah.
That TC just gained a lot of hit points as the fortified TC upgrade has finished up. So it looks as 022 will be holding on to his TC for a little while longer, but he has lost an entire Hersey raiding force in the main base of Bobby, who is now undoubtedly preparing for a mythic. Oh, he's almost mythic.
Yeah, he's almost mythic. Still not really all that many military upgrades for the Norse player. Just basically shields. Just copper shields is definitely not enough. Even though he's going to be just now facing, apparently, a large amount of archive. As they are finally being introduced into battle. Definitely needed against the Norse player. And otherwise in the middle, kinda interesting right now. A bit of an interim, it seems like, that the game should be more or less close between the players. But we are just going to be waiting, but the Tartarian gate is going to be putting everything in different order. Yeah, bird already coming in. It's probably going to be cast on the ATC. Yeah, well, there are about 30 villages on wood. And there is, of course, significant food economy.
Ooh. And 022 is actually training trolls now.
Yeah, that usually means that you're just really struggling to get any gold. And I wouldn't be too surprised. There's just these guys, there's no trade. And 13 villagers isn't that much, even if it's dwarfs.
Ooh, big shockwave there.
Yeah. But they are already going to be killing at least this Tartarian gate, but still, they do have a few extra guys to deal with, like the spawns, but they seem to be coming down fairly soon. We had a few heresies in there. So yeah, that was actually pretty capable defense of the Tartarian gate. I was expecting that it could be doing a whole lot more damage than it is.
Very nice, and Bobby's now having to switch over to the other gold mine, which should be scouted because there are 2 longhouses there.
Yeah, although there still is the one on the right side of the map, which is being protected by a palace.
That was just recently built. That's basically right now moving in there. Is he going to be moving all villages in? Apparently not. He's going to be switching into the middle, trying to secure with 2 extra palaces.
Some very confident play right here from our Oranos player.
Definitely.
And he does end up smashing that army, and he says, no, I'm not scared of what you have left. I'm making that palace.
Even the dwarfies are coming in to get rid of the palace and on the gold. Because he needs to. He
is out of gold now, so
yeah.
This is the critical fight in the game.
They're just gathering.
And he just come in. Basically, this is his all-in. He doesn't have all that much of a choice right now. Unfortunately, Oxcar dead, so he needs. Well, his next gather point is quite far away. Is the town center at the top, so he's going to be coming through the fire. So basically, the palaces are probably going to be killing a ton of villages in there, together with the rest of the army. So yeah, this is a pretty tough fight right now for 022, and he is going to be giving it up. Nice fight, but it really seemed like that actually the Oranos player was more or less having it in his hands most of the time. He was making, I think, actually the correct strategical or tactical plays, securing the gold mines on the left, moving on to the right, securing the town center through the towers. These little plays really helped him, and made any attempts by 022 kinda inefficient, even though they might have succeeded sometimes.
Yeah, actually Bobby had a really good kill to death ratio, which is normally the other way around. Like Loki needs to be the one that gets the superior engagements so that he can move on into that later game, but it was completely the other way around this time.
Much better economy, of course, for Bobby as the Atlantean. That's like much better. So you'll be kind of thinking he should be having a bit easier time of the game than he was.
Oh. To start the final.
Gosh, that's exciting.
New people. And it's women actually. Okay, GG.